Hello there, and welcome to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast, where we'll have a little fun, lots of laughs, and discussions on the common sense that needs to be applied to a lot of today's world news issues. And now, the disclaimer. Stay Off My Lawn is not intended as legal, medical, or financial advice. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary to win. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or over in the contiguous 48 states. Any resemblance to anyone living or deceased is purely coincidental. Actual price may vary. Only use as directed. Not a member of FDIC. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Richard.
Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Stay Off My Lawn. It's March 5th, 2024, and this is episode 57. And we are moving on up.
So we're getting to be the big time stuff. You need to talk about that again.
Yes,
I love our big time stuff.
We were just talking about on the promo that you can go to ALEXA and let me get the wording right here. You can say play ALEXA, play the most recent episode of the Stay Off My Lawn podcast on TuneIn. And we'll put this on our Instagram page. And so while you're doing the dishes or whatever you do in the kitchen or in your living room or whatever, you can listen and at your leisure to our golden tones.
At your leisure.
Leisure.
It would be wonderful. You shall leisurely listen to us.
Yes. So, not only are we in 15 countries, now we're on ALEXA.
Bing bong, 5 minutes past the big hour, 5 o'clock. Yes, it's time for those wacky stacks of wax. Anyway.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, it was kind of neat. I did that for my wife the other day. I walked out in the living room after, and be completely candid, I just found out about this. This may have been going on for 6 months.
We don't know.
We don't know. So it's like I just happened to, because I was curious. So how do I get on the smart speakers? So I actually wrote a note. I wrote a note to Spotify. It's like, how does this happen? And then I did some research, basically a Google search, and I found a Spotify article about it. And they said, TuneIn is one of the main platforms that, as long as you're on TuneIn, you can get any podcast to play through your smart speakers. So I was like, okay. So I tried that, and they gave me different ways of doing it. They, if you ever want to start a podcast, anybody out there, Spotify for Podcasters is a great website. It's free. It makes it it makes it very easy. I'm so sorry. I still have the embolism.
That's okay.
So,
why don't you just clear your throat there for a minute?
No, I think I'm
you
better.
You doing okay now? All right.
Yeah, there's you too. But
I got a little bit of different lisinopril pills. They're not what I was used to, and they're causing some disternation, shall we say.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, distillation. It depends on how much you drink. We had
that's
yeah. It's a close word. I mean, I have a limited vocabulary. If it sounds the same. So anyway, they've been very good to me, and they've been very helpful whenever I have a question. They're right there. And so anyway, if that's what you want to do, and it's free, which is amazing. You end up getting put on a lot of different platforms automatically. So it works out pretty good. So anyway.
That's just another thing. We're moving up. We're getting more listens each week that we're doing stuff. So we're doing our best to make this to live up to our little motto of informatively funny.
Yes.
It might be funny to us, maybe not to you, but we're going to laugh at it anyway.
And really, at this point, really, my own entertainment is really all I'm concerned about at this point. So anyway, how was your weekend? Did you do anything this weekend?
No, you know what? I was so much of a slug that there was a trail everywhere.
Oh gosh.
I watched NASCAR stuff, which it was just something to do. I'll watch it while it's on Fox. When it goes over to NBC, I can't.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't care for it as much for whatever the reason being. And so it's on. I'll watch it a little. Sometimes I watch it through my eyelids.
Yeah, it's watching you or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that
So yeah, I
before.
didn't do a whole lot, but I have now got March covered for grilling because I did that last night, and we have snow this morning.
Oh,
There's about we're pushing an inch out there at the moment.
it looked more than
Yeah,
that. You
that
sent
might
me a
be.
picture this morning. It looked like a whole lot more than that. Uh,
Isn't it pretty though?
No, no, it's so,
Yeah.
I guess it can be pretty, especially if I'm looking at it from 61 degrees and light rain here in Northwest Georgia. So it's good from my angle.
So before the snow came, I was out there and I grilled a bunch of uh, chicken thighs and put some Mexican seasoning and stuff on it. And the wife didn't complain about it being too hot last time. Well, I overdid it this time. I got in trouble.
uh,
It's too hot for her.
well,
But the flavor is awesome. You're not putting that stuff in again next time. You've been doing so good. She has no problems telling me when my cooking prowess
I
on the
think
grill went too far.
that's the beauty of being married for a long time is that
Yeah,
you don't
48.
hold
It
back.
won't be 49 for a few more months. What are we at? March?
49
Yeah, in
years.
four months it'll be 40. 49.
Jeez. Yeah, we're going to have 35 this year. We're going to have a get together in the backyard. I think we're going to have a bunch of people over, and yeah, might as well do something. It's going to be in September, so every year, and especially everything that's happened the last couple of years in our lives, I think that we realize that we need to celebrate as often as we possibly can. So it's a good thing for sure.
Yep. It's so we still laugh at each other.
Yeah.
This last week spent a lot of very happy with the hospital. My wife is getting she's getting not a retread, but getting a whole new tire. They're putting a whole new knee in her knees. You see I think I sent you the
You did.
picture.
You did.
It's not good, folks. I
No.
don't know how she's getting around now, but so anyhow, they've done a wonderful job. The surgeon himself had a pre-op. Okay, we go into his office and he's talking about all the stuff and telling us what's happening. And you're in with the PA and he brought it up on the screen and goes, "Oh, yeah, no, your knee shot." Well, thanks for that. We already knew that, but thanks for your your
Yeah.
help.
Thank you
But he
for your
went over the
bedside
stuff.
manner.
They get
Yeah.
out the little model, where is it that you touch? No, I'm not that one. Um, and the knee and all the stuff
Show me
that
where
goes
Richard
into
hurt you.
it. So we did that for what was that? That one was about an hour. Then we had one with the hospital, a pre-op with them, 2.5 hours. But it went by like
Yeah.
that. I mean, poof, it was. You had this one talking about stuff. This is what you need to have, and blah 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 blah. And you get the ice machine thing, yada yada yada. Then the physical therapist talked for a while. Then after that, it was a nutritionist on things that will help kind of get past all the medications from the surgery, yada yada yada. That stuff. Then they tested blood and stuff. They had little stations for them to go through for the people that were there, and it was. I thought it was really well done because I went, oh man, 2.5 hours. This is gonna. What? It's over? And yeah, it so I'm really happy that they care that much to make sure you understand what's going. We've never had the thing. So
Right.
when she has her other knee done, it's like, yeah, it's like having a second baby. Yeah, we know what we're doing
Oh,
now.
maybe they can bypass that whole process for the second knee. Buy one, get one
So
free. There ought to be something. I mean, we call Discount Tire and see what they got going on. If you get BF Goodrich,
yeah,
I think there might be a
there
refund
you
or
go.
something.
Yeah, it's like the old Bionic Man. We have the technology.
That's right.
Man, it's the stuff that they do and drilling. And our orthopedic surgeon is the same one who fixed my shoulder and did a stupendous job. And what I had done with that, but he is so caring. He is a third generation orthopedic
Oh,
surgeon.
wow.
He said if my grandfather could see that they're going to do it all with a robot, but he's going to be in the room watching it, this robot, and get this, Medicare doesn't cover that. You have to pay them for the
No
robot's
way.
time. Yeah, it's like something that makes it so that there won't be any problems. It has scanned everything and it knows down to the micro number on shaving and where this, so that will fit here, blah, blah, blah. And it's not a matter of guessing by golly, and I think we got enough of it shaved. It will all fit boom, and they're done.
So what, and of course I'm focused on the money part. When are you, how much are you going to get billed for this? That sounds,
To use the robot part, our part of it is going to cost $500 is all.
oh, and
Yeah,
that's,
that's not bad. We
no,
both went, oh, well, okay, if they won't do it and they don't cover that, which I think is stupid because you don't have a comeback. It's kind of like, that's what they call it in the automotive industry. You gotta, oh, it's a comeback, meaning somebody didn't do
yeah.
something right. A plug wasn't changed like it was supposed to, whatever. You don't want to have that.
All the oil
This,
drained out. Yeah. Something.
yeah, there you go. That kind of stuff. The plug fell out, those kind of things.
Yeah.
So they don't have to put you back up on the rack again because everything is supposed to fit. They will have you up and walking at the end of the surgery.
Yeah. My wife had her hip
2
replaced.
hours and it's done. That's it. That's all the longer it takes to put all the knuckles, joints, and
Yeah. My
I'm
wife
just
had her
shocked.
hip replaced about 10 years ago, and they had her up the same day and had her in physical therapy the following morning. So, I mean, and that was a hip. So, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. And she's like going, but I can't. I said, they said you can. You got to go. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, because obviously it hurt. They cut. That was a big cut that they have
Yeah.
on her hip. But yeah, it's amazing what they do now. And they don't allow you to lay around and do anything because you end up getting pulmonary embolisms, for God's sake.
Yeah,
But
they want you to move it and keep moving and not just lay in
yeah,
bed. But they want you up and doing stuff. You have to have a walker. They won't send you home if you
yeah.
don't have a walker. So all that stuff's been ordered.
I'll send you some tennis balls that you can put on the bottom of that walker. See, because those are all the fashion. All the kids are talking about that. Um,
Speed
so
racers.
yeah. So when's that surgery going to be? In case.
It's going to be a week from Wednesday. It will be on the 13th, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that is 13th. Okay. Yeah, we'll make sure that we send up a prayer for her, and that would be great. So she's good.
Yeah,
She's
that's kind
sounds
of
like
all
she's
we've
going to be
been
just
focused
fine.
on the last week or so is just making sure we had all the stuff and getting this ordered and going to that appointment. And
Yeah.
so,
Well, good. Hey, let's start off with some breaking news from the Twitter files. Richard called them the X Files on our promo, which is great. The X Files is just perfect. But documents have now revealed that the FBI paid Twitter $3,415,323 between October 2019 and early 2021. Now put that time frame in perspective. Was that an election year? Was it?
let's see,
What was
carry
going
one
on
divided
then?
by gum, I think it was.
think it
What a
was.
coinky dink.
Yeah, and at least two things. This is apparently to censor people from talking about COVID, which obviously October 2019 was a little early for that, but that was obviously there was still talking about the election, and the Hunter Biden laptop, and that was squashed quite a bit by the FBI and told Twitter to shut all that down. Don't let people talk about that. It's misinformation. Oy vey, oy vey. And of course, that's Michael Schellenberger, who used to be a Democrat, is now going, yeah, this is all awful shady. And
You think? Oh, and that
him and
goes
Matt
along with
Taibbi.
the what I read yesterday is that Democrats are leaving the party because they don't like the direction that it's going and they don't have any faith in the Democratic Party. Wow.
Well, to be
Wonder
honest,
why.
I don't have a lot of faith in the Republican Party, to be honest, because there's so many freaking rhinos, and we're going to talk about Mitt Romney later. But but there is
The head rhino.
Yeah, the head rhino. Yeah, him and Mitch McConnell. Mitch
Yeah.
McConnell's actually going to retire at the end of his term. So hopefully they'll have a primary and actually Kentucky will actually put an actual conservative up there. Yeah, I mean they don't vote in unison like the Democrats do. The bad Democrats, the good Democrats, they all kind of come together when it comes to voting on a bill, and you never see 5 or 6 Democrats voting for a Republican bill like we see 5 or 6 Republicans voting on a Democrat bill. It's one of those things. We have no unity in our party whatsoever. There's so many factions, and you got the Freedom Caucus. You got all these people they've divided themselves.
Yeah, well, that's why I've been a little reader this week for some
Hmm.
reason. But the Congress as a whole, not Republican, Democrat, either or, everything. Congress as a whole has a 12%. Yes, people, that's a one
Mm.
and a two. And let's no. Let's
All right,
all be on
Lawrence.
our toes.
Yeah, let's
Anyway,
do that.
yeah, no, it's 12% approval rating for
Wow.
Congress. Period. All they're doing is blah 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 blah. Oh, nothing happened with that. Oh, we found something else. Blah 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 blah. Oh, nothing happened with that either. And it's people are getting tired of it.
Yep, and we've gotten. I'll be honest. I've gotten excited about when they have somebody testifying in front of Congress, and they got all these gotchas, and man, but nothing ever happens because the DOJ is in the pocket of whoever's sitting in the White House, and they're not going to prosecute their own people. It's just never going to happen.
The propaganda machine pushes it all under the carpet or won't talk about it or anything else that's happening. So,
and the media is in their back pocket just exactly with the DOJ and the FBI and all those people. And one more thing, some breaking news. The Supreme Court yesterday, unless you've been living under a rock, you might have missed this. But the Supreme Court yesterday unanimously, which is not easy to say, decided that states like Illinois and Colorado and I think Maine cannot keep Trump off the ballot. They can only keep people off the ballot that are running for statewide elections and not federal elections. And so they got squashed. So even the three liberal-minded SCOTUS members have agreed that, the 14th Amendment doesn't apply here. What are you thinking? So I think it was a big win for our side. For sure.
Oh, and the left is just going ape. It's like a little kid you took their lollipop away or something, and I wanted to have that. It's my oh, shut up.
Let the meltdown begin. So yeah. It's beautiful. Hey, we're up against the break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Biden regime when they first came in office and kind of the way they're talking now and border visits and stuff like that. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
I'm Charmaine Davies, and if you're looking for a new podcast to listen to, I suggest you stay off my lawn. Well, no, not my lawn. It's a podcast called Stay Off My Lawn, which is absolutely brilliant. It's funny, it's informative. The guys that present it are just amazing. So that's everything you need in a podcast, I think. So go over to Stay Off My Lawn. It's brilliant. Make it your guilty pleasure. It's definitely mine.
Do you know how much salt is in your bowl, soup fans? Remember, an adult's maximum daily salt intake is 6 grams, and a kid's even less. So compare the labels on different soups and choose the ones lower in salt. Or perhaps try making your own. Go to eatwell.gov.uk. Salt. Is your food full of it?
All right, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 2, and we're going to jump right back in here. And we keep hearing from members of the Biden regime, which I like calling it a regime because I hate calling it administration because it sounds much more Soviet-ish.
Well, that's because it is, and it isn't much of an administration.
No, not at all.
How's this DEI working out in this regime? Not
gosh.
well.
Oh, what was the story? There was a story this week about DEI. That somebody had
it's the problem at Boeing that's caused them to have so much quality issues, the DEI, and they fired the DEI person and that department is gone.
I think there was another company that fired the whole DEI too. I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember who it was either, but you're right. There was those two showed up. The one I remember, the other one I don't.
Yeah. Anyway, the Biden regime and their friends in Congress, and they keep talking about how they inherited a broken immigration system and how all these illegal crossings are Trump's fault. Anyway, here's which is, every time I hear that, I cringe. That's why I let Richard listen to CNN and MSNBC because I just don't need all the cortisol. So anyway, here's a clip from CNN back in early 2021 when the media was still orgasmic over having Trump out of office, and the DHS news secretary Mayorkis was asked about the immigration policies of this new administration/regime, and this is what he had to say.
And I'd like to understand from you what Trump-era immigration policies have been banned, ended, reversed, and if any investigations are underway by you.
So we have rescinded so many Trump immigration policies, it would take so much time to list them.
Yeah. So they can't sit back and go, we inherited this problem. No, you got this problem because you eliminated.
You created the
Yes.
problem. There wasn't a problem. If you look at the numbers, do you know this last month, there were more illegal immigrants coming into the country than American babies being born?
Oh my
First time in
gosh.
American history.
And this HR 2, I think they said that, isn't that the Biden bill? They're going to deal with the border and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Anyway,
I
they
can't
said if it
remember
goes
the number
over
on it.
10,000 in a month, then they would shut the border down. So obviously they have the ability to shut the border down. They just won't do it. But yeah, they said if it goes over 10,000 for a month or 90 days or whatever, then they said that they would be able to just shut it down and kind of get control of it. Sort of like a 15 days to stop the spread type thing, which was stupid to begin with. So anyway, of course, this being an election year, the tune is changing a little. Uncle Joe was down in Brownsville, Texas last week, which is not necessarily a hotspot of illegal crossings. Donald Trump was at Eagle Pass, which is the place we hear so much about where a lot of those crossings happen.
That's where they have the razor wire that
Yeah.
for the crossings because it is a shallow area. And they're going, you need to take that down. And Texas went, no.
Yeah.
You've got 24 hours to take it down. And?
Or what? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what? Yeah, come on, big guy. Well, maybe they burn half of the
Now,
panhandle off. I don't know.
now, Greg Abbott. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, speaking of the panhandle fire, I saw some, and I think it could just be conjecture, but they're trying to figure out where and why it started, that it could have been an illegal camp up in the area that started a fire to stay warm, and then the winds picked up. Well, it ain't going to take much because those winds, there ain't anything out there to stop the wind.
I was going to say, though, it's a flat, nothing area.
Yep.
So,
And so they think it may have started from that, but again, that's just conjecture and guessing.
It is hard to know.
I didn't see any factual stuff on it other than that's what it looked like to them. How they investigate these fires, I don't know. I am not one of those people.
No,
But at any rate,
I have no idea. I was going to say that. Sorry about that. I'm not a big fan of Greg Abbott. When COVID hit, he was actually very, very terrible with the lockdowns and how restrictive he was with his people. But I will say that during this whole thing that he has been stellar, and you got to give credit where credit is due.
Up
Yeah.
wonderfully.
Absolutely. Now, I mentioned Donald Trump was in Eagle Pass, Texas the same day. And any way you decipher it, this was part of, now, Uncle Joe had a little speech, I think you mentioned during the promo, that looked like he was on a soundstage when he was down there.
He might as well have been on a set or something.
Yeah.
Because everything was pristine. And isn't this wonderful? You're in Brownsville.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Not much
That's
has
like,
happened.
where was it that I started to call her something else? The Cackle Queen.
Oh, yeah.
Another term for her.
Yeah, don't do that.
When she went down to El Paso or whatever, didn't even go to the border. She was just in the city at some place speaking. Okay, I've been there. No, you haven't.
And they went through and cleaned up the city just before she got there, too.
Oh, yeah, just like for the Chinese that came into San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, anyway, here's part of Uncle Joe's speech while he was in Brownsville. Poor guy.
This compromise legislation will also give me, as president, or any of the next president, emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border between ports of entry when the numbers of immigrants and migrants, overwhelm the border, straining the Border Patrol's ability to process. This compromise legislation will also give me, as president.
I messed up that. Anyway, you notice that he has the ability, apparently, to shut down the border between ports of entry, which is the no man's land in between ports of entry. So he obviously at least believes that he has the ability to shut it down, even though he's saying the border's secure. And if the border's already secure, then you don't need to shut it down. I mean,
Well,
maybe
he was also just saying before that speech that he didn't have the ability to do
Yeah.
that. It's the Republicans that want to. No, they have nothing to do with this.
they hurt my feelings.
Every thing that's trying to be passed in Congress, the Democrats put all these pork riders on it, and then the Republicans go, we ain't doing that. Oh, the Republicans won't vote this through.
Exactly.
Yeah, because of all the garbage you added to it.
And that's all by design. And there's just no way you can convince me otherwise, because they throw all that stuff in there knowing the Republicans won't go for it. And then they have fodder to say, they're not for shutting down the border. We had this bill. So yeah, I'm not buying any of that at all.
Oh, well, the propaganda machine pushes that. Oh, it's the Republicans. They're they do right along with it. So
They sure do.
Anyway, sorry.
Legal and you're good. Legal and illegal immigrants should be treated differently. One's breaking the law, one is not. But in reality, the opposite is true in a lot of cases. The next clip is from a young lady named Linda Catalina. And her story is about doing the right things and how the U.S. government can still treat you unfairly. This is very interesting.
Let me tell you guys how strict the U.S. is with legal immigrants versus illegal immigrants. So back in 2013, I was already a permanent resident. I was in the process of becoming a citizen. I go visit my family in Colombia for Christmas. When I'm supposed to come back on the 30th of December, I realized I don't have my green card. I'm like, I don't know if I lost it, if I left it in immigration getting into the country. And anyways, I'm like, okay, I'm still going to try to fly out with the copy that I have. I show up to the airport. They told me, no, you can't fly like this. And I said, what are my options? They said, let us call Department of Homeland Security and see if they can check and verify your legal status as a permanent resident so that you can get back. We call, I beg the immigration officer. He says, no way, we're not going to let you back in. You're going to have to travel to Bogota, get an appointment with the U.S. Embassy in Colombia, and get a permission slip to get back here because we're not going to allow you to come back in. Now, think about that. As all these people are flooding through the borders, I was already a legal person here. I already had papers. I had a job to get back into. Luckily, I went back home. I'm crying. I'm thinking I'm stuck there forever. Why? Because getting an appointment in the embassy, it takes like 3 freaking months. Luckily, my roommates found my legal card. I left it in my apartment and they shipped it to me and I was able to come back into the country. But that is how strict they are to us versus illegals.
See, and you got to remember, this is during the Obama administration. And statistically, Obama deported more people than Trump did by a long shot. It's,
Yeah, it's all just made up stuff, and it's like, no, you don't need to look at those numbers. Look over here at this shiny. No, don't. Yeah, that the propaganda is just getting annoying to watch, and people aren't buying it. When they were celebrating Nikki Haley's win in D.C., oh man, the right was going, ooh, the Democrats voted for her in another election, and she actually won this one. Big deal.
Yeah.
There's only 2,000 Republicans in D.C., so it's like 98% plus Democrats. They moved over to vote.
Of course
so
they
it's
did.
Democrats voting for her. It's not, she's not a Republican. She is what did they call her? The Swamp Queen is the new name for her, by the way.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, she's the queen of the swamps now. That's the Swamp Queen.
Well, and she is. And I'll be honest, I used to like her when she was governor of South Carolina. I think I mentioned this before. She did some pretty good things while she was governor over there. And maybe we should talk to our friend Brad and see what his opinion is. I hadn't even thought of asking him about it, but yeah, supposedly she ran that state pretty well. She was very popular, and she lost her own home state of South Carolina by 20. Was it 21 or 31?
Yeah, it was over 20 points.
Yeah. So I mean, to Trump, which supposedly Trump is not anywhere near. If you listen to MSNBC, Trump is not very popular at all.
Well, if you listen to her, 70% of Americans don't want Trump or Biden for president, so she's the best alternative. If 70 don't, she lost one election, I forget what state it was recently, almost by 60 points.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, by the way, is today Super Tuesday? I think
Yes, it is.
I think it is Super
as a
Tuesday.
matter of fact.
Yeah, we're having our primary is a week later, I think, on the 12th, a week from today. But we have early voting going on. So if you live in Georgia, you can go to your early voting place or wait until next Tuesday and vote. This has been a public service announcement of.
I don't know if that's anyway. Yes, it's Super Tuesday. Get out there and do your thing, folks.
And you think about immigration. You think about the way our leaders used to talk about immigration just as early as 30 years ago. You think about Bill Clinton. This is a clip that I found from his State of the Union speech from 1995, and
I heard this one.
And I love this.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
By the way, the state that had the big disparity between, I don't know why I can't even remember my own state, was Idaho.
Idaho, yes.
In the caucuses that they had, this was the first year of doing that, it was 13.2% to 84.9%. 70-point difference.
Wow. Oh, I did find this after that Bill Clinton the Bill Clinton speech. This is Donald Trump.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
So anyway, that's which why wouldn't he? I think it's a good idea. But yeah, I mean, he would be torched in the media. He'd be crucified in the media if that happened today. If Bill Clinton said that today, because he would
be on a head on a stick, as they used to say, or whatever. Give me a break. They're wanting to pay for illegal immigrants for their health care and stuff in California because they're losing so many people. They're going to lose 2 seats, if not more, in the House of Representatives. So they've got to have them come in, but they're illegal and should not be counted. They are not citizens.
No. Well, I think I mentioned this last week when Trump wanted to have whether I'm a legal citizen or not on the census, and they shot that down, which I don't think it's a bad idea. What's wrong with that? I don't understand. Why? I mean, any other state in the world would probably be fine with that question, but of course, here. We're not going to go there. But they're also, California is also $68 billion in debt.
The hole's getting deeper too.
Yeah. I mean, if they're going to
very rapidly.
And you were talking earlier, we were talking off the air that, they're probably going to have to raise taxes on the people that remain, which is probably just going to push more people out that have the ability to get out of there. Yeah. A lot of people are moving to Texas. A lot of people are moving to Tennessee, Florida. They're moving to places where there is no state income tax, because the state income tax is like super oppressive in California. And if you live out we've got friends that listen to the show that live out in California. So it's like, exactly what we're talking about. And it's just going to get worse. So anyway, we're up against another break. So when we come back, we're going to hear from Mitt Romney, which I'm sure we can't wait for, because he's always got a lot of wisdom. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. More of the Stay Off My Lawn podcast is coming up.
Americans for the Arts is shining a light on how creative expression and opportunities can shape communities and foster leadership and confidence. And it is our mission to gather support and resources for those individuals waiting behind the curtain for their chance to shine. Find out how your business can play a part at americansforthearts.org.
All right, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 3, and we are moving right along. And it's Mitt Romney time, like we were talking.
Romney time.
Yes.
It's just a rhino time. Why don't you? Anyway.
He was recently interviewed on CNN on who he would vote for in 2024 for president. And here's his barf-worthy response, if you ask me.
Would you vote for Donald Trump over Joe Biden?
No, absolutely not. I mean, for me, there are two factors in deciding who I want to have as the leader of my country and the person who is the example of the president for my kids and my grandkids. One is their position and policies. And on foreign policy, I'm not aligned with Donald Trump, at least as I understand his policy. On domestic policy, yeah, I align with many of his domestic policies. But there's another dimension besides policy, and that's character. And I think what America is as a nation, what has allowed us to be the most powerful nation on earth and the leader of the earth, is the character of the people who have been our leaders, past presidents, but also mothers, fathers, church leaders, university presidents, and so forth. Having a president who is so defaulted of character would have an enormous impact on the character of America. And for me, that's the primary consideration.
Speaking of character of university presidents, Harvard Law, I mean, Claudine Gay is lacking some character herself. How
the hell can he even talk about character?
Exactly.
He hasn't got enough character in his little finger to do anything.
I love it. But it's people like that love to lecture about character. And
he's not running for re-election either. This is a rhino who knows he's going to he won't get re-elected. He's well aware of it, so he's not going to run again. The people in Utah hate him.
Yeah. But they keep re-electing him, and nobody runs in the primary in the last few primaries. But he's a senator. He only runs every 6 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they know how to elect some good people. Mike Lee from Utah is a fantastic conservative. So I mean, there's hopefully a lot of states get their stuff together. I need Georgia to get their stuff together because it's like, we've got two terrible liberal senators in our Senate. So it's just. It blows me away. Atlanta runs the whole state, basically. If you can get the Atlanta vote, then forget it. The rest of the state, there's not enough population.
It's the same thing in Oregon. It's you have the little strip down I-5 where it's Portland, and then it goes into Eugene, and not much past Eugene. There's a pretty big gap, and it not so liberal in the southern part of the state, but it's just that little piece where you got it's Portland, Salem, and Eugene.
Yeah.
So, and Eugene is often referred to as the People's Republic of Eugene.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, that's the home of Birkenstocks. That's where they have this. They actually have store that you go into.
Do they still make those?
Oh yeah, no, they have the store in Eugene where you go get your Birkenstocks.
Ah. I don't see them around here very often anymore.
Yeah,
so, yeah. A lady from CNN has coined a new term. It's called Christian nationalists, which it's a made-up term, but it's fun to listen about.
There's many different groups orbiting Trump, but the thing that unites them as Christian nationalists, not Christians, by the way, because Christian nationalists is very different, is that they believe that our rights as Americans, as all human beings, don't come from any earthly authority. They don't come from Congress. They don't come from the Supreme Court. They come from God.
Yes, and
there's a funny
your point.
There's a
I'm
funny
trying
little
to figure.
funny little document called the Declaration of Independence. And you start in the second paragraph and it says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and that we are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." So it's Christian nationalist, which is obviously a negative term, for you to believe that.
Well, they're using it as a negative term, but again, it's the left goes, yeah, Constitution thing, it's just an old piece of paper. No, it's still rather usable.
Nobody believes that
it's
stuff
fine if you would stop ignoring it all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like there seems to be a big push, at least in the media, to take those documents and just kind of like and say that they're not worth anything anymore.
Well, that's part of the takeover of the, wir are here, Sieger. Yeah, and the little mustache man's party is trying to rise again, and it's not going well.
You will comply? Do you understand?
Whichever.
So anyway, so we have a new. We're not deplorables anymore. Apparently, we're Christian nationalists.
Oh boy! And I like how she tried to differentiate between the two. What? Where's the problem? Because I don't get it. Which one's what?
But if they determine what the terms are, if they determine the definitions of these terms, then whatever you believe, they can say, "Oh, well, you're not just a Christian; you're a Christian nationalist," and because you've been out there with a sign about anti-abortion or whatever, like they did with the Catholics in up near D.C., like they did, they throw these people in jail with FBI squads coming up to their house with red dots in the middle of their kids' chests and stuff, and arresting people for. It's just, but those kind of people are the ones that are supposedly Christian nationalists. You're a Christian nationalist if you don't agree with them.
Yeah, I just don't understand how they think this is okay.
Yeah.
You don't believe the way we do, so we are going to squash you.
Yeah.
It's not going over well. If you look at a map of the U.S. of the latest, it was a poll that was taken for Republicans or whatever, those that wanted to vote Trump in. He had enough states to get 310 electoral college votes, and I think you only need 270 if I remember
270
right.
to win. Yep. That's
Yeah, and he had 310, but it was the country was red except for the little pockets of blue, which are the big cities, and that's why they want to have voting not via the electoral college, but via, and that is. What a stroke of genius. Whoever came up with that, it just blows me away. How did you figure that this country was going to be big enough that would make a difference? So it's not big metropolises. That's not how the national election is done. And if you don't understand how the electoral college works, and it might be a dirty word, but go to PragerU. It's explained very, very well by a scholar who knows exactly what they're talking about. There is a reason that it's there. If we didn't have it in our little podunk state of Idaho, which has gotten a lot more people,
from California,
why would anybody want to come and, as they call, stump for votes in our little state,
right?
Or South Dakota, or they all have a certain number of electoral votes, and everybody has a right to it. Period.
Yep, absolutely. And I think it was the same poll that you were looking at. They were talking about a lot of these swing states that might be turning red, that are leaning towards red: Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio. And so, I mean, and they even mentioned Georgia, which, for years we were blood red. And of course, with all the people moving here because all the jobs we have here, which is a good thing, but we still have a lot of people moving here from these liberal districts and bringing their politics with them, which, which is, just a trade-off, I guess, in order to have all the jobs
we have a lot of the Californians moving in, and I'm a Republican, and they're registering as such. No, you're a California Republican.
It's different.
There is a difference. Trust me.
No doubt. Yeah, I got a friend of mine that texts me once in a while, and it's like I know he's one of those California Republicans, and it's like, man, I just know now. And Larry, if you think I'm talking about you, I'm not talking about you. It's somebody else. Anyway, because Larry listens to every show, and every time I mention California, he's like going, "You talking about me?"
Larry, you're off the hook. Trust this.
You're off the hook. No, he doesn't do that either. But anyway, but yeah, there's a different mindset of the Republicans in California, unless you're in Orange County, maybe. But for the most part,
I just don't get it. I mean, when I heard a lady talking to her friend standing at the cashier to check out for groceries and going, we thought this was going to be great to move here. This is wonderful, but where's all our free stuff?
Oh my gosh.
I just almost said something, and the wife gave me the little elbow nudge and goes, just stay out of it. But she's an idiot. I want to say something.
Idiots need to be called out. Yes, absolutely.
In Idaho, no, we don't have free stuff. If you're not working for it, you ain't getting it, period. You've already screwed up our real estate, so go away.
Yeah, nobody needs any more of that either. One of our favorite representatives, Harriet Hagman, from Wyoming, recently was asking Dr. Jennifer Bowens, who serves as the director of the Center for Family Studies at the Family Research Council, about some statistics. And finally, some people are saying the quiet parts out loud. The parts of course, most of us have common sense, know to be true. They've always known to be true. But here's how that exchange went.
Dr. Bowens, my last question is what is the success rate of sex change operations?
Well, we have, it's hard to find longer-term data with children, but what the data that we do have, which is probably the most reliable data point available, is from a Swedish study, and it looked at over 10 years, which is really important because regret doesn't just happen a year after some sort of transition. And what you see is a suicide rate that's associated with 19 times higher than the general population.
Well, actually, there is a 0%, there's a 100% failure rate for sex change operations, isn't there? Because it's not possible to change your sex.
That's right.
100% failure rate for these procedures.
That's right. You can't change your sex.
They're all saying the quiet parts out loud. I love that part.
Yeah, it's you can't. I'm tired of the propaganda that, you want to identify as a cat? Wonderful. I love what Oklahoma did. Well, if they don't leave, then we will call animal control. All this stuff with what they're doing is, it's all mental issues that they need to talk to somebody about things. And I've seen so many of these people that have had this in the past and are totally regretting it now. There were two gals that were talking, and one, she decided now I want to be a her, had her breast completely removed. She'll never be able to breastfeed. The other one had her uterus and stuff completely taken out so that she could be a man. And she now wants to have children for whatever reason what's occurred and is not going to be able to. And why do you think what's causing the high rate of suicides? It's really sad because they thought this is the do-all, be-all, end-all. I will now be ultimately happy.
This will fix
and
me.
All it did was throw more coals on the fire.
Yeah, sure enough. And those, I think if I'm thinking of the same interview that you saw, those people made those decisions as adults, and we're wanting these kids, these 14, 15.
One of them was a 13-year-old.
Oh, was she 13?
When it happened, when she had things done. And that's, that's what they're trying to do with kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, she's now in her early mid-20s, and it's not good. Anybody anywhere on anything, whether it's a sex change or whatever, if you're looking for something somewhere else to make you happy, that's not going to make you happy.
No,
It will.
no.
You will get that and go, well, I still feel crappy, because it's not going to change.
No.
You have to decide you're going to be happy. I like to go through life with a smile and being a goofy nutbag. I'm just being me, and I like seeing people smile. Just be yourself, whatever it might be. Just be yourself. You're going to be a lot happier in life if you're not trying to want somebody else to make you happy.
Sure.
You need to make yourself happy.
And up until the last few years, that's been called gender dysphoria. It's been a problem that needs to be addressed by a psychologist or whatever. And it's like now it's just, well, my 13-year-old's playing with GI Joes. She needs to be a boy, and a lot of these parents are pushing this agenda, and it's like, and I just can't believe we're in the position we're at right now, how people think and how people think this is all gonna be a good idea for their kids. There was one I saw the other day where they were talking about their 4-year-old was trapped in the wrong sex of a body. I'm like going, at 4 years old, what do you, I mean, that doesn't even cross your mind. I
don't even remember being 4.
I don't either.
So.
I don't either. But it's a parents thing. It's these left wing agenda people that will push it and ruin their kids' lives over it.
Well, in my opinion, that's another form of child abuse.
Absolutely.
Sorry. It just is.
No question. And if you're pushing that agenda, then, but if you stand against it, like you and I are talking against it, then we're homophobic or we're anti-LGBTQ or whatever. And it's like, that's not the case at all. I don't have anything against these people. I just don't think you should put it on kids. If you're an adult, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. Chop your bits off, put bits on. I don't care what you do. But man, as a child, we need to protect kids. And that's been the role of adults for millennia, is to protect the kids from harming themselves or having somebody else harm them. I just don't see how that could change. Anyway.
I agree 100%.
We'll get off our box now. We're up against a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the education system in America and how it's changed over the last 30 years. And, of course, we got our palate cleanser after that. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
The Stay Off My Lawn radio show and podcast will be right back.
Cure Search for Children's Cancer is a 501c3 U.S.-based nonprofit foundation that accelerates the search for cures for children's cancer by driving innovation, overcoming research barriers, and solving the field's most challenging problems. We fight every day to make new and better treatments possible for the 43 children diagnosed with cancer each day. Find out how you can help at curesearch.org. That's CURE search.org. All right, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn. Segment 4, we are almost done.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Breakfast time for me.
I get my feelings hurt every time you hoo-hoo. Anyway,
it's my tummy that's going woo-hoo. It's not actually me.
You're just hungry, that's all. Sorry. For decades, you make me laugh. For decades,
it only screws up when I make you laugh. Okay, well, good to know. I'll get more airtime in that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Up until about 30 years ago, the U.S. ranked near the top in the world when it came to educating our kids K through 12. One of the last data points I saw that we were ranked number 18 now, as compared to the other industrialized nations, not necessarily all of them. Of course, the Asian countries are smoking the rest of the world, which, they've just got, and talk about Asian Americans, I've seen plenty of things recently about this, is that they are just outperforming everybody. Income-wise, education-wise, they just have better work ethic, and you hate to pigeonhole anybody, but I mean, they're killing it. So I have to you got to give them props. They're doing fantastic stuff, and they're great parents apparently. And the white, black, and Hispanic Americans need to watch them and maybe pattern themselves after what they do. all of this, in 70%, 70% of American kids are entering college, which is a new high, which I think a lot of them don't graduate. I think there's only like 30% actually graduate of the people that are actually going into college now. So anyway, recently there was an interview with some of the exchange students from Finland. I think you and I sent each other this.
We passed in the night on this one.
We did.
I think you sent it. I hadn't looked at what you'd sent me, and I sent that to you, and then I got into what you sent me and went, okay, well, that was another.
We do this all the time. We find something we think is interesting, and we send it to each other, and it's like, and normally I'm out somewhere, so I can't listen to it. And then I'm like, oh, this looks good, and I'll send it to him. He's like going, dude, I just sent this to you. Anyway, this was an interview with some exchange students from Finland about the differences they saw while they were here in the U.S.
So you were an exchange student in the U.S.?
Yeah.
When you got back here in school, what did you notice that you felt relieved about?
No more multiple choice exams.
No multiple choice exams here?
Or very few of them, if any.
Really?
All of my exams in the U.S.
How do you answer the question right if it isn't listed as one of the 4 choices?
You write your answer.
You have to know it, actually.
Yeah.
You actually have to know it.
Yeah.
If there was one thing I heard over and over again from the Finns, it was that America should stop teaching to a standardized test.
Get rid of those standardized tests.
National testing.
The standardized tests.
Standardized testings.
What you are teaching your students is to do well on those tests, and you're not really teaching them anything.
No, we are teaching them. We're teaching them how to flunk a test, and then a bunch of schools fail the test, and those schools are turned into charter schools, and then somebody makes a lot of money.
But school is about finding your happiness, finding a way to learn what makes you happy.
It is illegal in Finland to set up a school and charge tuition. That's why, for the most part, private schools don't exist. And what that means is that the rich parents have to make sure that the public schools are great. And by making the rich kids go to school with everyone else, they grow up with those other kids as friends.
Pretty interesting. And I don't know if Finland is at the top of the list. I did not look, but they noticed that we teach to the test and not teach to learn, and which is very different than when you and I were in school.
Well, there is absolutely no problem solving that's taught to kids anymore. And then they come up with this new math that nobody can do and makes no sense. And it's ridiculous. But I think you find more kids with problem-solving abilities come from country kids that are out working on a farm. Stuff happens, and you got to figure out. It's still got to get done. You got to make sure that it happens. The only way that you're going to be able to do it is with a problem solving. How are you going to get this and this? I've got water. The ditch runs from my house on my place right now, way behind my house back here, and I want to make a sprinkler system, and I also want to get water there's a pipe available that runs clear out to the pasture. How am I going to get that? You just go, well, let's see if I did this, and if I did that, ooh, that'll work here, and it's just all worked out. But you got to problem solve, and that's just what I've seen in the youth with dealing with teaching customer service, and that is the customer's got a problem, and they go, oh, I'm sorry, here's a credit. That's not problem solving. No. You're not doing anything. No. You're not going, well, how can we not have this happen again? Here's what we need to do. And I'm sorry that happened to you, but we're going to be doing this now and we'll take care of it and blah, blah, blah. You've got to have some problem solving skills. Kids don't have it today. They just don't. They go,
Yeah, where's my other 3 choices?
Yeah. No kidding.
I remember the multiple choice tests were very rare. When you got them, it's sort of like, whoo, I'm at least going to get a 25. Because statistically, but these were things you figured out on your own anyway. I didn't mean for water to come out your nose. Sorry about that.
Well, don't say things like that just as I take a swig of water, you pain in the... My eyes filled up with water. I was trying to keep it from spewing all over my equipment.
When you try to swallow, it is a public service announcement. It comes out your eyes if it doesn't go down.
Well, and I've also looked at, I know teachers that would make a template to lay on top of the page, and this is where all the correct answers were. And if it wasn't, they just colored it in red.
Yeah.
They don't care what you did. So that you can't do that if you have to actually write a dissertation, or you have to make something that you're going to need to think about it or be creative with your answer, whatever it might be. They've not thought anything. Well, let's see. I know it's not that one. No, it's between this and that, and I'm going to choose that one. Woohoo! I was right.
Yeah, exactly. 25%. But they actually have. My wife used to work at the school system, and I know a lot of her friends, and a lot of the stories that you hear, they've actually taken. It's not that these teachers don't care anymore. It's they've sucked the give a crap right out of these teachers because they've made the incentives to pass the test, just like the Finns had said in that clip. It's like
if they're not getting good scores on the test, you're not going to get a raise, or you're not going to be moved up the ladder, or whatever the case might be, because you didn't teach well enough to the test.
See, I don't know how they did it in the past, but it worked. Whatever it was, man, I had some great teachers in this little podunk town of Punta Gorda, Florida. I had some excellent high school teachers. I just don't understand what in the world, how they've taken such a system that worked so well. In Florida, I think back in the 79 was when I started high school. I think we were at least towards the bottom of the list as far as nationally ranked school systems out of all the other 50 states. I think we were at the bottom, but it's like, it was still so good. I still think of these teachers a lot. I still remember some of the stuff they taught me that you wouldn't think you would remember, but I still remember some of those things when I'm watching Jeopardy or something. And it's like, man, they were just so good at teaching you something without you even realizing you were getting, it was burning into your memory that you would never lose. But I think the teachers today still want to do that, but their hands are tied. Like you said, they don't get a raise, they don't get something.
Yeah, letting you do things in class that's maybe not normal. It was, thank goodness I had teachers that allowed it, but I hardly did any written book reports. I did them oral. Can I do it oral? Really? And they'd go, sure, we don't have to talk.
That's because you're a ham.
I got by with doing, and I could speak well, but it was a skill that has served me well over the years, and getting up in front of a group and not being afraid to just get up there and do it.
Even voiceover has helped you, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a good thing. Right. Well, we beat our education system up. We beat up rhinos. We beat up Alejandro Mayorkis. We beat him up. The X-Files. We've just had a wonderful day so far.
We have. It has not been bad. And I haven't eaten yet either. So, and I'm 2 hours behind you. 2 hours in front of you, I mean.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about health right now. And we're talk about one of our favorite things, a colonoscopy, a little tube up the poop chute. And how did you have a story about this? I want to hear.
Wonderful. My first experience is still it's a fun story. I had a problem in my lower colon, and so that got all fixed. And then they went, well, we need to do a colonoscopy. And this was before I was 50. So they did that, and they give you goofy juice, and they have to do certain things. Well, there is an insert that they put in your spot there that has to, so that the camera runs through and you won't get a burnt rope type issue on a rock.
Gosh, I felt that when you said that. Jeez.
Yes. So anyhow, they put this little gal. She was a little redheaded, very young, I'm going to guess fresh out of nursing school. Because they lube it up and whatever and put the insert in. I
wonder if it makes that noise. I bet it does make that noise. Go ahead.
Well, that's kind of what it did. It went, and it came out. And when it popped out, I went, hey, you owe me a beer for that. and the doctor was just roaring. She's going, what did he say? He said you owe him a beer for that. That's the last thing I remember. He was laughing so hard he couldn't have done either. This gal, she happened to be had moved a little bit where I could see her, and the look of sheer terror on her face.
You're not supposed to be awake.
Yeah, that was, well, that's what she gets for not doing it right. So there wasn't a problem.
Why do I feel that every time you do that?
So anyhow, that's my story with my first colonoscopy. It was really no big deal. It's the prep that is the worst.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
we have some humor on that.
We do. I don't have a similar story with my colonoscopy. It was a 15-minute nap. I felt nothing. But anyway, Tim Hawkins, one of our favorite comedians, actually has a song about his colonoscopy. And so here's that for our palate cleanser.
All right, let's get serious for a second here. Yeah, it's not all fun and games. Let's just tone it down. God has given me a voice and a song to sing and a stage to speak. And I don't want to take that for granted. That's why this next song is more of a public service announcement than anything else. It's a song about prevention. And guys, you get into your 40s like me, you got to take care of yourself. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. And if this song right now helps one person here tonight, then it's all worth it. Amen. You have some lovely children and a lovely wife. You have a healthy bank account and had a healthy life. But you knew the day was coming. It was always meant to be. The doctor says it's time to have a colonoscopy. Oh, colonoscopy. A wonderful procedure, as everyone can see. Your number's up, it's time to take one for the team. It's right there on the schedule, a colonoscopy. There is some preparation that you should know about. You have to drink this fluid that will surely clean you out. They take a certain instrument to look around inside, and honestly, I'll tell you, it can be a bumpy ride. Oh, colonoscopies, a wonderful procedure to help prevent disease. Stay close to a bathroom and careful when you sneeze, or you can get away from colonoscopy. It's not a lot of pleasure, it's not a lot of fun, but now you're turning 40, so you know it must be done. It's not an ordinary, typical exam. You lay down on the table and then, thank you, ma'am. Oh, colonoscopy, a wonderful procedure, I'm sure you will agree. To never underestimate how thorough they will be. It's time to take your medicine, colonoscopy.
Oh my gosh, that was very good.
It's that prep stuff for me would be almost like a clock, 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah,
and
really?
I had to drive almost 40 minutes to get to where my doctor was from where I was living at the time, and we barely got there in time because I'd already been doing the prep, but then there's still, I started early enough. We should be good now. Off we go. The wife's driving. I'm going, oh Lord, please get there soon.
Oh, I know. We had a 45-minute drive, and it's like, when it turns into purified water, pretty much, then it's it knocks on the door very aggressively. We'll put it that way. Yeah.
Oh Lord, yes, it'll lift you off the can. Another Billy. Oh darn, he's a Scottish comedian. Oh, it's so funny. Whew, that one's hilarious too. Anyway, get your colonoscopies, guys, from a couple of old fellers who've done it, and I've had one twice. It's not that big a deal. You only do it once every 10 years, and fine.
Yeah, unless they find something,
Yeah.
So anyway, we hope you were somewhat informed and prompted to go get something stuck up your bottom and had fun like we did. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And one more time, where's that special spot? They can hear it now?
You go to ALEXA.com Let me get this right. Hang on a second. Let me see. Go to ALEXA, which you've sounded out for yourself, and play the most recent episode of Stay Off My Lawn podcast on TuneIn. And so jot that down. You'll be able to listen while you're changing oil or doing your dishes, and you'll be able to listen to us on your Alexa device. So, yeah.
Olay, yes.
Olay, yes.
Or you can just go to our website for all of our past and present episodes at stayoffmylawn.us.
Thanks for staying with us, folks, and we'll see you next week.
Toodles. Well, we had fun and hope you did too. The opinions heard here today are not those of anyone other than Mike and Richard. If it made you laugh or go, or even, then we've done our job. Sort of. Well, mostly anyway. And if we made you think about things in a common sense manner, we welcome you to the club. And if it didn't, then just stay off my lawn. See you next time.